This has been going on a long time. And she said that she was at the Air Force base in Germany, and this goes beyond sex trafficking, but I think it's the truth. And many people probably won't like to hear this, but as we all know, the sex trafficking goes on in the Catholic Church. It's rampant. And they've been protecting those guys for years, stealing kids out of homeless shelters to take in, just like you were saying, Wally. Yeah. Bringing kids over from other countries and bringing into this. Now, what they've done is they also use drugs to mind wash kids, some very powerful psychedelic drugs that you get from a flower in South America, and essentially creates someone, puts them in a zombie-like state, and they'll act around, walk around and act like they're normal, but they are subjected to any type of suggestion that you might say, and then when it's all over, they have no memory. So this gal who worked in Germany, I believe for the Air Force or Army, it doesn't really matter. She was stationed in Germany, and she said that that there was, it was just understood. The first thing she came in and says that, you know, we all do wife swapping, and you know, you need to be okay with that and whatnot. They would drug her, and then, you know, essentially anytime an officer or general would want to have sex with one of the girls, they were expected to do it right there and then. And you know, it was, what she also told me was quite startling, and that was that, but kind of proved many things I've heard, in that they also did child sacrifices. And they called the children chicken, and that they would essentially sacrifice the children, and many of them on these drugs, ones who were fringed, trying to be brought in or made to be, and the ones who were found out about it or were brought in and shown, if they objected, they were called alligators. So it's called alligators and chicken. And the people who objected were literally taken and thrown to the alligators. Wow. They said they have a crematorium underneath the base there in Germany, she said. She ultimately got through and got out, and ultimately objected to one of her supervisors coming in and stating that, knowing that there was going to be a problem with this jet coordination system, but it was going to cost too much money to fix them all, he just said to let them go ahead and go through with it. And it would put many, many pilots' lives up at danger. And she knew this, and she I think she whistleblowed. And so after that, then she essentially left, and but she was subjected to targeting as well, and brainwashing, heavy brainwashing with drugs and whatever else. But the amazing thing is, she wound up becoming romantically involved with one of her controllers, who had gotten out. And so some of these victims actually know who their controllers are, especially in the military. So it was quite a revelation to hear all this. So what we're talking about is that the high-ups of our military have been taken over by essentially satanic individuals.
I was just going to say that to you, Shawn, and I have it written down that there's a satanic connection.
It absolutely is.
To this, to all of this. Even what I went through in New Hampshire, they threw a satanically sacrificed dog carcass in front of my truck on West Side Road in my travels to put more fear into me. And
absolutely.
It just, it's, I know that a lot of these cults like are big up in upstate New York, up in the woods, up in the mountains, out in Maine, out in New Hampshire, Vermont, where they're tucked away. A lot of these cults are forming because they're out in the woods. They can have fires. They can sacrifice animals, people, whatever. I don't know what they do, but they're sick. Now,
that combined with modern culture, with all of the new videos that are coming out, with all the pop stars and all the simply, just degradation of our girls and our young people, And I also wanted to mention, going back to the hierarchy in the Catholic Church, the Pope Francis, who is the first Jesuit Pope, by the way, which means he's not even a Catholic, assured his many followers that no spiritual harm can come from receiving an RFID implant. We have examined the scriptures thoroughly, and I can conclusively say there's nothing to indicate that RFID chips are satanic in any way. If anything else, these devices are a blessing from God. And with that, they mandatorily RFID chipped every employee of the Vatican.
No.
Yep.
Really, Shawn?
Yep.
That is actually creepy. Creepy, big time. What?
Maybe more. Go ahead, Phil.
Well, we're actually running out of. It's 7:42, so we got to speed this up a little bit. I got a bunch more stuff I wanted to bring out to you. But as far as those kids, all these immigrants that they're scooping up, illegal immigrants, bringing them to military bases, you just have to imagine with all this sex slave stuff going on that's what's happening. But nonetheless, let's move on to the other subject of the woman out in San Francisco.
Yeah, so through my association with Freedom for Covert Harassment and Surveillance, I at the time I was general counsel for him. We had a legal committee, and one of the main persons who was just the person who got the group going and who was always making phone calls to people and trying to help people out all over the country who have been involuntary committed, and she's just extremely dedicated and absolutely devoted to bringing justice through lawsuits because she was a legal assistant. And I got to work with her quite, intimately over the internet, and I got to know her quite well. And for the 4 or 5 months before she was found hanging to death in her closet. Now, she was pretty outspoken and was doing a lot to get these TIs help and to do things to fight the system. And she wrote a letter the week before to me and I think 4 or 5 other people indicating that she wanted us to know that her stalking and torture had increased dramatically. She had internal chips proven by an investigator and some other very advanced eye technology. And so she listed all of her family members and essentially all of her assets and said that, essentially if anything happened, that these are the people to call. Well, 4 days later, I get a message that she was found hung to death in her apartment. And the initial investigation was ruled a suicide, but I was able to get through to the investigative detective, homicide detective, and talk to him. because he had heard quite a couple other phone calls, but when he heard it from an attorney, he took it more seriously. But at the same time, he summarily dismissed it, even though he did listen to what I have to say and seemed to comprehend it. But there was writing in blood, I believe, on the wall that said, the satellites can watch me die or kill myself. And that was, this is very unlike Susan Watkins. She wouldn't have done this, number one, and she wouldn't have done things like that. But so she was found hanging in her closet. So there's a little bit of a defeat for the cause.
Yeah, Shawn, you knew this woman very well, correct?
I did.
And she had a good faith, correct? Strong faith?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, she did.
So, none of that makes sense.
No, not at all. Because...
Can we keep moving to other subjects, Shawn?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you get that email I sent you from Kate in regards to...
That's a tragic deal. You probably know more about the facts than I do on that one. If you want to.
Well, just briefly, there's a woman. Her name is Chris, and right now she has been attacked by these microwave weapons for several years. But what started this whole thing? She has been targeted since her husband was murdered at the Bethlehem Steel plant at the Naval Shipyard in Maryland. Her husband was murdered at the Bethlehem Steel plant at the Naval Shipyard in Maryland. After he was murdered, then they started attacking her with these weapons. And apparently, from what I read, and my friend Kate knows her also, that they locked in on her lungs and kept the pulses going, and her lungs were filling full of blood, and
right.
She's in critical, I guess, serious condition right now, and they're sending out emails asking everyone to pray for her, and she is a Christian, and I'm seeing, Shawn, that like 90% of these people or more are Christians, and here's another case of Christians being not only persecuted, but murdered and slaughtered.
Oh, absolutely. But what they're preparing for is a murder and slaughter on a far greater scale. This is just the beginning.
That's what they're doing in Iraq right now.
Yeah, actually, well,
They're
that's...
rounding them up and killing them.
Yeah.
Christians.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I want. I came across this interesting Department of Defense leaked video, and it was about Project Funvax, and that is a vaccine that they believe, if sprayed in chemtrails over a population, and they were talking about the Middle East.
What is that called again?
Project.
It's called Funvax. V-A-X.
Spell it.
F-U-N-V-A-X. Project Funvax.
Funvac. Okay.
Funvax, like a vaccine.
All right.
Vac.
All right. Funvac. Yeah. Project Funvac.
And this was developed in 2005, and the way they were going to deploy it was aerosols. So what it does is there's a what they've isolated as a VMAT 2 gene, and if they can suppress that gene, it decreases the part of the brain that is reactive when thoughts are made about religion. So they've showed that people who were not extremists had a very low amount of this, and that people who had a high beliefs in religion had high activities in the brain in this conditions. So they created this virus where they